In mid-May, I took a trip to Salem, Oregon to visit Edelman Peony Farms and see peony fields in bloom for the first time. It did not disappoint, and I'll share a few other details from my trip in case you're like me and love a little garden-centered weekend getaway. On this trip, we stayed about 20 minutes away from the farm in Silverton, Oregon at a beautiful historic bed and breakfast called the Edward Adams House. The house was beautifully kept and restored, and the host, Nancy, was very kind and made us a delicious breakfast every morning. I think you can call Silverton a garden town. The Oregon Gardens are right down the street from where we stayed, and the local shops even take gardening breaks throughout the day. Edelman Peony Gardens is a family-owned peony field established in 1995 and has around 30 acres of peonies. They grow over 500 named varieties and have won awards for their peonies. It's free to visit, and this year they're open to the public from April 26th to June 15th. You can't cut your own peonies, but you can wander the fields as much as you'd like and buy fresh cut peonies from their garden shop. Edelman Gardens is pretty active on social media, and you can find a very cute bloom status alert on both their Instagram and website. They post what's in bloom and when they think the peak bloom time of the season will be. While I was there, the early season peonies were in bloom, which I think include a lot of the woody peonies or tree peonies. I didn't know much about peonies before this, but there is about 6 types of flower forms: single, Japanese, anemone, semi-double, bomb, and full double. And then beyond the flowers, there are 3 main types of peony plants: herbaceous, tree peonies, and E2 peonies. Herbaceous peonies die back to the ground each winter, while tree peonies are woody shrubs and tend to have the biggest flowers. E2 peonies are a cross between the two, combining some of the best features of both. Being at the peony farm was exciting because I was surrounded by the biggest flowers I've ever seen. Not everything was in bloom, but here are a few that were while I was there. Wasetta Princess is a light pinky purple semi-double flower that bleeds into a beautiful deep purple in the center. I love how the petals look a little bit ruffled and like someone watercolored this flower. Hephaestus is a tree peony with very rich, deep red double flowers. This one was a very fragrant peony and would be nice in a garden where you want a lot of contrast. It's named after the Greek god of fire. When I personally think of peonies, I think of this color and style. Raspberry Charm has semi-double blooms in a lovely raspberry color enhanced with a center of gold stamens. Pastelegance has creamy pastel pink double blooms. The pink eventually fades into an elegant cream tone, and I would think that this one is very popular for weddings. If you've watched my channel for a bit, you probably know by now that I love the more muted colors and blush colors, so this was one of my favorites. Lemon Chiffon has beautiful light yellow semi-double flowers with gold stamens around bright pink carpel tips. This one is considered one of the most fragrant yellow peonies and was also one of my favorites from this trip. Ruffled Sunset is a tree peony with single blooms. The blooms had deep rose edges that blend out into a creamy yellow color. The single style flowers, especially with this coloring, definitely feel more tropical to me and a bit similar to hibiscus. The color was really beautiful to see in person and was like a watercolor painting. Mrs. FDR was cultivated in 1932 and is a very classic example of a peony. It has a pretty soft shell pink double flower. These were just starting to bloom, so there are only a few fully opened flowers. I really like this color as well. Coral Charm has a semi-double flower and has very saturated, deep coral color blooms with no fragrance. Samuel Wissing, who registered this variety in 1964, is famous for his color-changing varieties. As the blooms age, the color transforms from coral to cerise, orange, and then finally white. Over in the barn, there's a cut flower display area showing all the varieties of blooms. It was really fun to see how all of the colors and styles compare to each other as one big gradient. I'm not sure how they have all of these in bloom at the same time, since some don't bloom until much later in the season, but it was really cool to see them all in the same place. The variations of cream and white were some of my favorites, and there was a huge variety of leaf shapes too. You can't cut the peonies in the field, but they do have them for sale pre-cut in the barn. The blooms are fresh, so they're given to you balled up into tight little fists that don't look like much at first, but they'll open up over the next few days. These are what mine looked like the next morning, and these 3 blooms cost me about $12. They also have potted peonies for sale, but if you can't take a pot home on your trip, you can place an order for a root to be shipped in the fall. After Edelman's, I stopped by a few other farms and gardens nearby. Schreiner's Iris Farm and Garden is one that's definitely worth a stop. They have 10 acres of display gardens, and this year is their centennial celebration, which means they've been in business for 100 years. Their bloom season goes from May 2nd to June 1st, and if you want to see a little bit more about that garden, check out my May Garden Update vlog that I'll link below. Another farm and garden that's worth a visit is Seabright Gardens, which specializes in hostas, ferns, and epimedians. They also have an iris field and a nursery area with a big range of other plants. Seabright Gardens is open to the public the longest, from March 29th to October 27th this year. I ended up purchasing a perennial snapdragon, which will die back to the ground and regrow in the spring. I love this flower color, which is white with pink veins and yellow edges. If you can make the trip, the farms and gardens are stunning and you won't be disappointed. Check out the farms' websites each year to see when they'll be open for their bloom seasons. I think you'll have a great time and you'll be wowed by the biggest peony flowers you've ever seen. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're taking extra good care of yourselves this season. I'll see you next time.